Hey guys, it's Jared from Marketing Mavens coming back to complete part 2 of Snap by Infusionsoft. So if you haven't already read the first post, I would encourage you to do that. It'll help this post make a whole lot more sense. Here's a video to make things even easier for you if you don't like reading. So feel free to go to part 1 and then part 2 will make all the sense in the world. So what I promised in part 2 is an example use case of using the Snap app in a real life scenario. So I'm going to jump over to an Infusionsoft sandbox account real quick and we'll go down. First thing I want to show you is the tag. So this obviously takes preparation prior to the event. You're going to think through all the different segments that you're going to have different audiences you'll have at the event. So I've identified some here. So I've coined them all with Info Summit 2013, and then I've got a web prospect, an Infusionsoft prospect, an Infusionsoft user, a Marketing Mavens customer, or possibly needs Infusionsoft help. And then you'll also note that I've got one that I start off with Go, and that is under the category Start Campaign. So that's important. That's something we set up for all of our clients as a category called Start Campaign. Oftentimes there are many scenarios where you'll use tagging as a method for a goal being achieved to kick off a campaign. And the problem is if that's a reciprocal campaign where you want people to go through it multiple times, you have to always remember to remove that tag. Well, if you're removing the tag, then you kind of lost your segmentation that they'd gone through the process at least once. So we like to kind of break out our segmentation tags, which is the bulk of them, from just the set of ones that kick off campaigns or meet certain goals. So we'll always create a category called Start Campaign, and then we always preface those tag names with Go dash. But I digress. I'm heading down a rabbit hole of probably some details you don't need. So these are the tags, though. You want to think out in advance who's going to be there, how am I going to want to segment them and build these tags prior to the event, of course. Now, once you've done that, the next step is to, of course, build out your campaign. So I'm going to jump into our Info Summit 2013 post follow-up. So you'll see no one's gone through it because this is just a sample for you. So what we've got here, again, kind of based on those tags, the combination really of those tags, because you could have combination of different people here. I'll identify them. So already a Marketing Mavens customer. If they're already a Marketing Mavens customer, more than likely we have helped them with both Infusionsoft and their website. If they're a customer, we probably haven't left any needs undone. However, we do have a new service that we'd like to promote to those people. It is the one thing that we can offer them that they probably haven't had before, and that has to do with a certain top secret traffic strategy, for example, that entails basically beating out all of your customers on Google. So I've got that identified there, and then for people. For other people, we've got Infusionsoft user needs Infusionsoft help only, and then we've got Infusionsoft user needs web and Infusionsoft help. We've got an Infusionsoft user who only needs web help. We've got an Infusionsoft prospect, and someone who needs web help, and then maybe only a website prospect. So they're not an Infusionsoft user, and all they really need is some help with a website. So these are all the different people that we could possibly meet at all the different, groups of people that we could meet at a marketing event. Now, it's critical that you get kind of the logic right. So this is called the decision diamond, and let me circle back to that real quick. So this whole thing is getting kicked off when a tag gets applied. In my part 1 video, I show how you can select different tags. So this campaign gets kicked off when the Info Summit 2013 attendees tag is applied, and if you recall, that is the Start Campaign category Go, the one that we just mentioned when we were looking at our tag set. So that's what's going to kick this whole thing off. So for every person that you collect information on, that tag is an absolute must for this thing to run. So you'll make sure to apply that tag. Then as we take a look into our decision diamond here, that'll take a second to pop up. Got some logic in there. As we take a look at the decision diamond, you'll see kind of the logic and the combination of tags, or has one tag but doesn't have this tag, that really defines which path they'll head down. Okay, so now it's popped up. So rules for already a marketing customer, they just have to have this customer tag applied. Infusionsoft user needs Infusionsoft help only. So we're saying, hey, they're a user, they need help, but we also didn't apply the tag, but they don't have the tag web prospect, right? And then if they just need web and IS, then they've got all three of those tags. If they're a prospect and it doesn't need a website and they don't need a website, then they're an Infusionsoft prospect, but it does not contain the website. And I mean, I could go on and on through these, but I think you get the point. So you kind of got to map out your logic here and make sure that it's sound. But really, it's just a matter of when the person comes through, I'm going to tag them. In my conversation, oh, great. Are you already using Infusionsoft? Oh, you're not. Okay, great. Is it something that you've considered? Oh, yeah, I've been thinking about it for years now. I see them at the event, all these events, and I've been thinking about it, but it's too much for me to do on my own. Okay, great. Well, you mind if I take a look at your website? Oh, I've got like a landing page right now. I don't really have a site. So as we identify those needs, and let me enter in your information. We'll send you some follow-up. I will be inputting, obviously applying the Go tag. I'll be inputting there an Infusionsoft prospect. I'll be inputting the tag that they're a website prospect. And then that combination of has tags, doesn't has tags, will essentially determine which one of these routes they head down. So what I've built out here is just really the beginnings. This campaign might be a lot more complex. Most of these should have some type of goal attached to them, but for the sake of time, I didn't feel like you needed all of them built out to see it. So we'll use both the top path here, and I'll talk a little bit about this one in a moment to just kind of identify what's happening. So if they're already a Marketing Mavens customer, and more than likely, we've helped them with Infusion. We've helped them with websites. We want to identify what is something that we can offer clients. So it's great to see them in person. Hate to lose the opportunity to serve them and grow their business. So what can we offer them? Well, it so happens that we have this new service that we're providing, just released, to help people increase their traffic. So what I'm going to do is when they go into this campaign, I'll wait a day, so a day after the event or after we input them. So if we input them on day one of a 3-day event, it's going to wait a day and then send them information, which could be really great because it might get them back by our booth asking questions, clarifying, possibly even close them at the event. So first email about Operation on Google, then we're going to wait a couple days. At this point, they're probably just getting home, hopefully still excited about implementing stuff that they learned at the event. So Operation on Google email 2 goes out, and then we're going to wait a few more days, and from there Operation on Google 3 goes out. So that's kind of a very simple example. You might decide to drip on the person for longer. You might decide to call the people. Personally, when you receive hundreds and hundreds of leads at Infusionsoft, I'm not a fan of dialing for dollars. I love leveraging Infusionsoft to identify who's hot and who I should reach out to. So this is a perfect example right here. Basically, if someone clicks on a call me link that we have inside the email, call me with more information, then it'll stop. So if they're on email 1 and they click it, they're not going to get 2 more emails. It's going to complete that goal. And then what we'll do is go into this sequence, which basically creates a task to call the customer. So all straightforward, but I mean literally if we've got 600 leads and maybe 50 of those people were already Marketing Mavens customers, and so they're going down this path, and there are 5 who say, hey, I'm really serious about this and interested, call me with more info. We're not going to waste our time, dialing through 600 numbers or even 50 numbers. We're going to call the 5 who have really qualified themselves as action takers, and those are the people we want to work with. So again, like I said, you would probably have goals and then additional sequences and different things attached to all of these. I just built out this top row. Now let me talk for a moment. I think events is certainly one example of this. This happens in other sales areas, but one thing that you definitely want to do is have some type of tag that identifies a golden lead. So when we're in an event and we're talking to someone and they're they already have reached a certain level of success, but maybe they've hit some certain roadblocks. Not the person trying to make $8,000 a month, but the person trying to go from maybe 80,000 in revenue to 100,000 revenue or 120,000 in revenue. People who have some money to invest in, whether it's advertising or infrastructure or automation. If we come across someone like that, we don't want to throw them in the stack, just this normal stack here of everyone else. Instead, we want some very unique follow-up taking place with them, probably some very personal one-on-one follow-up calls. And so literally we create a tag called Golden Lead that we're not going to tell them, hey, I'm going to input you as a golden lead here. But of course, when we're entering their information, what we might do is, instead of applying the Info Summit 2013 tag, which you could still do if you wanted to, because if you're not going to apply any of this other stuff, you're fine. You might also just apply the tag Golden Lead, and maybe it's an Info Summit 2013 Golden Lead, to be more specific. And then that would kick off a series of events, probably just tasks, maybe create an opportunity inside Infusionsoft for you to follow up and sell. So anyway, that's it on the event follow-up. I feel like a lot of people that I know personally, like good friends of mine, will invest a lot of money in a booth, a lot of money in their display and kind of all their prep work to get there, and their flyers and their handouts and everything that they do while they're at the event. And no one builds a system like this, and it's not complex, guys. I cranked this out in about 30 minutes, and of course it would take a little bit more time as you consider all these paths and whatnot, but I mean, it doesn't take a lot of time to really crush it at an event. And while you could do really well at the event, my experience has been that we usually will close the same amount after the event with a follow-up system like this in place, if not more than we do at the actual event itself. So follow-up is king, and I hope you enjoyed this video on how to use both the Snap app and Infusionsoft's Campaign Builder to follow up with your leads from events.